ladies and gentlemen, this is your finale. I think it's part 18 of the Forza Motorsport 2 playthrough. We only have 2 races left to do, and if they go, like, relatively well, we're going to do some skids after, because that'll be fun. I haven't done that in ages. I don't remember how to tune drift cars in this game at all. This is going to come as a shock to you. But just quick, we are at 98%. We got 2 races left. They're both endurance races. The R2 one at Sunset, and then the R1 race at Sebring, which has been the hardest class car combo in the game so far. So, you can see 10, 10, 10, 10, and then we finished the professional series last night. And bada bing, and we will go to Sunset Peninsula. What do we have for cars? Oh, right, I wanted to use the Maserati. Maserati, it's not a Bugatti. That's the wrong game. We could use the Porsche, but I think I've used it before in the game, and if not, it's underpowered and underweight. Oh, I may have just talked myself into it, actually, because it might actually be a little bit of a challenge. We're going to get squonked. It's a word I just made up on the oval, but... Yeah, let's do it. I may regret this, but that's fine. Bottom gear. Do you have to get monetized on Twitch to get ads? No, I think you just literally get cut in. I think even, like, if you're, like, streamed to one person with no, like, affiliate or anything, you still have ads. You just don't get any cut of it. I did do Ford versus Ferrari, yeah. Yeah, that Corvette I'm worried about. Everyone else will be fine. Alan McNeish, that's my teammate, and me. I did it in the Ferrari. I had the Ferrari already. I'm going to do the thing that I do with race cars in this game, though. Oh, no. Do that, and then I'm actually going to do that. Let's not regret it. Insane Bowel Movements. I love that band. Good start. Oh, the brake bias was actually a really good idea. Will it roll? That is the question. R390 would have been a good pick, too. I just kind of going off of what I already had. I didn't want to look through cars. It sounds sick. You could put that engine in stuff, I think. I mean, we'll find out. I think there is an R34. I think it's, I don't remember if it's the regular R34 or like the V-Spec newer that gets the R390 swap. And I don't remember if it's the race car engine or, whoa, from downtown. Or the street car engine. And then after this, like I said, it's R1 at Sebring, which should be fun. Because instead of, like, all the short races we've done at Sebring, where I'm, like, trying to win in, like, 6 laps, we can actually, like, let the race breathe, and there might be some pit strategy, and... Tom, serious question. Were you even, like, around in Forza 2, or was that before your time? My time. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought you're like a Forza 3 or Forza 4 guy. Same engine, different exhaust notes, I'm sure, though. As it turns out, chat, this race is going to go perfectly fine. We are way slower in a straight line. My copy of Forza 2 came with Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which I played maybe twice. And then I recently bought this copy. I don't know what happened to my childhood copy of Forza 2, but I wanted like a Forza 2, not just like the combo pack. What's up, John? What's up, Kurto? Forza 1 upscale. The best way to describe this game, because it still feels very Forza 1. After having played Forza 1 a little bit, it still feels very similar, but it feels like what Forza 1 could have been. Like, fully fleshed out, some more licensed tracks. This is going to be a good little race here, I think. I never played the second one. I just played the first one because that's what this came with. There's so many good tracks in Forza 1 though. But like the AI feels very similar. The AI in this game feels like Forza 1 AI, like done properly. Again, I could have just been really unlucky at the beginning of the game, but the AI in Forza 1 when I was trying to play through it was not nice to me. But it's fine, because we're going to play through it again. That day will come eventually. I'm hoping Forza 1 is not a marathon like this game was. I guess you just call them simcades. I don't know what genre of game like you'd call this Gran Turismo. Because simcades is kind of like the driving style, not necessarily the style of game. I don't know what you'd call it. I always called these, like, well, not always called these, but I always thought, not always, I don't know why I keep using that word. I thought of these games as, like, car collectathons. You know, like, big, expansive career modes where, like, there's not a whole lot of, story or whatever. It's just like, hey, car? Lots of car. Racing game. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know what I mean, though. Car smash. Occasionally. I was having trouble in the Nürburgring last night. But, like, this being 80 hours, I think we just tipped the 80-hour mark on this playthrough. It's about what I expected for a 100%. Not just like, hey, I want to just do the last race and beat the game. Tom, you know, and I'm with you, because there's really, especially when it's like in the middle, there's no right answers. Even at like Sims, some people are like, no, this game is more realistic than this one. That's why I don't like using the words, I fucking blew it. I don't like calling it a simcade to like describe the genre of game it is. Or the subgenre. Gives a shit. Isn't getting older nicer? It's like, I don't know. These ones and zeros make me happy. I don't particularly care what you call them anymore. Car PG? Nah. That's not wrong, because like I understand the logic there. Because you're progressing through your story. It's a long game. Or progressing through your career. It's a long game. There's like levels and currency and whatnot, but I don't know. There's not like RPG elements to it, really. Oh, we have a run for once. This might be my favorite track in the series, or one of my favorite tracks in the series, both layouts combined, but it's very simple, and I always thought it was a longer track than it actually is, but I like the layout. It's fun both directions. Not Fujimi Kaido. I know you're just memeing, but I mean, I'm gonna catch shit for this, but I've said it 100 times. Kaido's the most overrated track in the series. It's not bad, it's just overrated. Yeah, I have a whole bit on that opinion. I was like, wait, am I gonna get in trouble for this? Like, no, it's Forza's problems. I'm not even gonna entertain that joke or the answer, other than that one and this one and this one and this one and this one. I like Kaido. The Brew. I don't know if you're shit posting, but there was a track that was basically a big. It was about 10 minutes long, or so, maybe, depending on what you were driving. Toge track called Fujimi Kaido. And it never really made it. I think they brought it back in. They had it in 1 as an uphill and a downhill, and they brought it back in 3 as a looping track. Tom, I actually 100% agree with you. Kaido Racer games. We're gonna play Extreme Racer 3, and Drift 2 will happen at some point. I kind of want to play Drift 1 and Drift 2, but they're long games, and I trust Caro and her saying that Drift 2 is the better of the two. But it's like I still play it like I drive Fujimi Kaido on Assetto Corsa. Like I like the track, but it's so situational for what it's good at. Like it's fun to do, like obviously like sandboxy stuff where you like do soapbox racing with your friends, or toge, like initial D style toge racing, where you do 2 runs, you know, downhill, uphill, whatever. What version of Tokyo Extreme Racer do you gonna play? PS2. It's the one that I own. Is there other versions? Or do you mean like release version? So I have no idea. I know there's the one where like you can't do the last race because it's bugged. NTSC, yeah. Fuck garages. I was Let's Playing it for YouTube like a million years ago, Brew, because the people wanted it, and I saw Empty Box playing it, and it looked like fun. But Empty Box was streaming it, if I recall. And I was just like recording it for YouTube, so I'd play it for 4 or 5 hours at a time, cut it up into like 30, 40-minute parts, and put it out like that. That game, when you're sitting alone in your room and you're not like a kid and like can make your own fun, is fucking boring. I haven't finished GT7. I finished it. What's up, Slushy, by the way? I haven't gotten to the end of GT7's new stuff, but I got to the end of GT7 from like launch content. As a single player experience, I love Gran Turismo's online for a console game, and it's the perfect balance of like jump in and race versus like the seriousness and like and whatnot of iRacing. It's such a good casual racing experience if you're interested in the tracks and cars. As a single player experience, it was good, but not as good as the older games. Like, I had fun with it. I think the AI caught a lot of flack for no reason. But I wish I remember the guy's name that did like an hour-long review on Forza, not Forza 7, but GT7. Or for the first 30 minutes, he was shit-talking all the like YouTube drama people that were just like, GT7's a microtransaction hell. It's pay to win. I'm like, what does that even mean? It was Review Tech USA, yeah, a couple other people. which I beat all of GT7 up until its first update, and I've never had to spend any money on it. It's not pay to win at all, because it's the only expensive shit you can't race online anyway. Like, it's the worst take I've ever seen on a racing game from people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They just want to capitalize on the latest outrage to make, like, for more clickbait and more views. Didn't really lock you in with anything. So, because it's such a linear progression, there's no replayability in GTA 7 for me. I don't see myself ever going back and playing through it again. And, like, 100%ing it and doing all the races and unlocking all the stuff and, you know? I probably will never do that again. Whereas, within the last 5 or so years, I've beaten GT1 twice, I've beaten GT2 twice, and I beat GT3 for the first time. GT7, unless you, like, want to just be obtuse, really only has one way to play through it. Which isn't awful, like, it's fine, and I commend Polyphony for taking their, like, single-player offering and trying to change it up and try something new, but it has no replayability once you're done for me. It's great that they're adding in races and events and whatever, that's cool, but I will never see myself, like, deleting my game save and going back and playing through it again, because it's just very, like, hey, do the thing. Hey, the thing's done. Time to do the next thing, which is what every GT game is, but I just played through 3, and you want to talk about fucking tedious. The last, like, 10 events on GT3 took what, chat? Like 30 hours? They're so long and boring. Like my sex life. That's more like short and boring, but anyway, I digress. But I still had fun doing it. Like, hey, I need to win this American car championship. What car do I use? Oh, I know. I'll use a PT Cruiser. You know, whereas for a lot of the cafes, it was like, hey, you need to use one of these 3 cars, and this is the one that you unlocked in the last cafe, so you'd kind of be an idiot to not use this car. Because it's one of the, like, all of them are pretty, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no point in exploring and trying to do the events differently. Unless you, like, really just want to be weird, but even then, like, there's very limited options, so it's not like you can do a certain cafe with, like, a super goofy car and make it work. So, yeah, I liked GT7, but, like, keep in mind I've never really played the PS3 ones. But it's definitely not, like, the second coming of GT4 in terms of how its single player keeps me entertained. And I still like how they polished it, and, like, a lot of love went into it, which compared to a lot of console racing games that have come out in the last couple of years that are made by people who looks like they can't wait to be done with it and don't give a shit, very clearly the people at Polyphony gave a shit. It's just I didn't really like a lot of the choices they made. I get why they did it, and it still makes for a good experience, just It would have been a lot better if they had the cafes, like, its side thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know how they have driving missions and whatever? Add the cafe as, like, hey, do you want to learn more about Nissan? And do you want to learn more about GT3 racing's history? Do you want to learn more about GT500 Super GT cars? Then go do cafes. And you could unlock some cars along the way. And then have a traditional career. And there is, like, still a traditional career there. The UI for it is just, like, very obtuse and weird. Licenses. They're very well balanced. I feel like a lot of the license and special challenges are what makes the game fun. Like, really fun. Golding all the licenses, there's a couple tricky ones, but it wasn't like brutal difficulty. And then even like just seeing my friends' times for my licenses a little bit faster and going, oh no you don't, and retrying a license I've already golded just to beat my friends. Really fun. I haven't tried Master yet. Yeah, I think the last time I played GT7 was probably Watkins Glenn's update. I don't use I'm doing a sip for Ghosty. I don't use my PS4 for literally anything else other than like playing Call of Duty 4 randomly every 6 months and GT7. So I don't necessarily boot it up just to like, oh hey, I wonder, like I do want to go back and start completing everything that I've missed. Especially because I have like 20 parts of the playthrough. And I'm probably really close to 100%ing it up until its current content. Challenging licenses. Even as a drift dude, like the drifting was really fun to try and learn, and it's not good. I still think that I've never understood modern Gran Turismo. Thank you for the bits, by the way. I've never understood modern Gran Turismo drifting as somebody who plays Forza, used to play Forza and plays Assetto Corsa now. I don't get it. But just like the little challenges of like, hey, get 5,000 points, and then I see somebody on my friends list has 10,000. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna no life this for the next hour. Like, I like that. I like that a lot. The wet lap at Spa, I think it was S9 that everyone bitched about. Doing that on a wheel was a blast. And like trying to pick the dry line. A lot of the driving missions are really fun. Even the little endurance ones where it's like, hey, you need to bring a car that's like somewhat competitive, but you can do whatever you want. So trying to do it in like worse and worse cars, like that is the GT experience that I remember. I just wish there was a lot more meat on the bone of like things to do that are open, like the main career of being like that. Tom, I don't know if you're trying to make a joke, but you're right. Because at the end of the day, it is like what? Like a 3 to 5 lap race, you know? And then again, God, I really wish I remembered his name. Because like I said, the first 30 minutes where's the dude going, you know, everybody who said this was a pay-to-win game, yeah, they're all fucking idiots. They don't play Gran Turismo. They don't speak for the community. And if you hear anybody say this game's pay-to-win, they have not played it and don't care to play it. They just want to capitalize on rage clicks. They're all fucking morons. And the entire time, I'm just sitting there for 20, 30 minutes like, yes! Talk to anybody out there, I think that, not anybody, but like most people who have played Gran Turismo 7 for more than 15 goddamn minutes. To beat all the cafes, you don't need to spend any in-game money. Very minimal. Very minimal. 90% of the cars you need for the game to complete the game, it gives you them. Like, hey, congrats for beating this cafe. You got an R32 Skyline. Guess what the next cafe is? Skylines. They're like, it's pay to win because they want a fucking $30 million 1937 Bugatti that's not competitive, is not used online, and is not used for any races in the career mode. Just because they want to have it. It's the Forza Horizon mentality of, I need it, 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 which I think is funny, because Horizon has limited time cars that you can only get for a week, and if you don't get them, you gotta wait months for it to come back. So, like, what's the difference? Oh, it's all for microtransactions. That thing that's buried under 8 menus? You're an idiot. Fuck off. I never understood that. However, again, the last 30 minutes of the video were like very valid points. One of them is because there's no grid starts, like standing starts, and because the rolling starts are so spread out, your car has to be so much faster than the AIs that it doesn't really make the racing fun. Which, to be fair, as somebody who's just played through the first 3 Gran Turismos within the last 2 years, a lot of the racing in the old GTs wasn't fun either. But you have the option to make it close if you want to. You know, how many endurance races in GT2 did I win on, or in 3 for that matter, that I won on pit strategy? It would have been nice, Slushy, if it started off with very, like, guided, like, cars and tracks, and then kind of, like, let you breathe a lot more towards the end of the cafes. But what are you talking about? GT7. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad video game at all. I still love it. It's still, like, I don't regret my time with it. I had an awesome time playing it. and is one of the best modern racing game experiences I've had in a long time. But to say it's like a perfect game is just not true. There's so much I think they could have done better, or like design choices I don't necessarily agree with. You know, I still think that both Forza and Gran Turismo are guilty of this. Forza's, I think, worse, but GT's up there. You are sitting on so much. You know how, like, Smash Bros. Ultimate, the big gimmick was just like, we're bringing back every character we've ever put out in a Smash Bros. Game. Yeah, that's what I mean, Pig. If they would have put cafes as like I said, I don't know if you were here for that. Like extra, like, do you want to learn about 90s JDM cars? Here's a cafe, so you do the races, and then you get that little blurb of like, well, Nissan in the 90s, blah, 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 and then like the gentleman's agreement. Hey, do you want to learn about GT 500 JGTC racing? Do like 3 races of that, and then you have like the little blurb. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been so cool, because it's a way to drive the cars and then learn about them at the same time, which is just like, that's what Gran Turismo does. You know, it did it on a PS1 just by putting weird cars in that we've never heard of before outside of Japan. Or even Europe. Like, I've never heard of Venturi until a Gran Turismo 2. I'm sure there's a lot of people from Europe who learned a lot of American cars through Gran Turismo. To just build on that with modern hardware is really cool. But having that be the main thing, the main guided... Like I said, I'll never play GT7 all the way through. Oh my god, it farted right in my ear. I'll never play GT7 all the way through ever again. Like I said, I want to go back and like start completing a lot of the stuff they've added in updates and patches, but I never in my life will start from zero again. Absolutely shit cars. So there's 2 things up for that. I want to finish my thought, and then I'm gonna talk about that. I love talking about racing games. Thanks for bringing this up. Cafe and top. The cafe and the missions, Pig, there would have been so much shit to do. And there is still a GT-style mode. It's just, like, buried in sub-menus. There's no main menu that has, like, races, beginner, expert. It's like you have to go to a track and see what events that track offers. So the way they did it is just, like, clunky and weird. And definitely does not feel like that's the main idea. I want to stay up till lap 20, but my fronts are dying. But Forza's bad really bad for this. GT is not as bad. But I said this earlier before I got distracted. I'm going to stop looking at chat. I say that as Seth staring at me again. Stop. Forza, up until now, has such an awesome back catalog of original tracks. And I think that's where console racing games are starting to lose their way a little bit, is they're trying to be so serious like a PC game that they forget that, like, 80 to 90% of the player base for the game is playing it on a controller and don't care about how realistic it is. They just want a fun racing game. And I like what GT has done. Like, hey, here's Tryon Mountain, but realistically, even a real racetrack, they'll have updates that'll come out, and corners will change. So we thought, you know, let's make this corner a bit tighter or whatever, or a harder braking zone for better racing or whatever. Whether you like those updates or not, that's personal opinion. So I think some tracks work a lot better than others. The Grand Valley Highway 1 is gorgeous, beautiful. I still miss the old, like, forest setting, but that's just me being, like, nostalgia about it. I don't understand why, like, again, Forza's horrible for this. Why they just fucking ignore IPs that they've built on their own. Like, how many tracks from Xbox 360 Forza's never came back that I think people would love to see back? Sunset, that we're on right now, Sedona, all the Camino Viejo tracks. There's how many layouts there? Like 15, 16? All the test tracks. And I get their Forza's point, or Turn 10's point of, we borrowed corners from real-life tracks, and now we have access to the real-life tracks. Rally de Positano, whether it was, like, the long track or Amalfi Coast, the little baby one, like, there's so many original IPs that you could re-release and just go, hey, this is our track. We didn't have to pay licensing for it. We updated it with new technology. We added, like, new art. The track's not as, like, see how smooth everything here is in Forza 2? We've added some bumps to it to make it a little bit more interesting. So what's up, Wolfie? Sorry, I'm on a tangent here. I don't understand why they don't do that. GT's been, like, trying, like, they're bringing... Oh, my God, my fronts are killed. Like, they're bringing Edgar Norwan back, and they brought back a couple other tracks. Again, with changes, whether you like them or not, that's up to you. But Forza has such a good back catalog of shit that's already been in games that they just pretend does not exist, and I don't think I'll ever quite understand it. It's like, why do you guys try to hide your history? It's almost like they're like, oh, like this is tinfoil hat, but it's almost like, oh, well, they'll just say the old games were better. The old games weren't better. It's that, you know how, like, Toyota didn't want to license any of their old cars for forever? It feels a lot like that. Not the same, but a lot like it. It's like, well, why would we have, like, Sedona and Sunset infield now when we have tracks like Daytona? I don't know, because you'll have 3 oval infields now. You can double your track count without having to pay a cent in licensing. Could you imagine? I swear to God, and like, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass here. Cars would be a lot more difficult to license, like every other car that's been in Forza ever. Like, that would be hard. Like, obviously, you can go back and get classics like the Top Secret S15, blah, 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 blah. But if they just said, hey, Forza 9, every track that's been in Forza ever is now in the game. Like, Smash Bros. Style, people would lose their goddamn minds. Tom, there has to be a mix. But these, like, both of these franchises were born on stuff that they created. And I don't like to see that get ignored when it was a lot of really cool ideas from really cool people. That just like, hey, we have the same track that every other game has now. Like, oh, hey, we got rid of our 2 oval infields that we made. Again, this is not confirmed. I'm just speaking. We got rid of Sunset and we got rid of Sedona because we have Daytona, like the other 15 games in our category. No, the new ones are ass. Did Forza 8 have one that they made up? There's the Japan one, right? But Bernese Alps wasn't good. Oh, wow, we were really dead on tires. Okay, go! Bernese Alps wasn't very good. Prague wasn't very good. Rio was okay. Abu Dhabi or Dubai, I forget. I think it was Dubai, was fine. It's, you know, but Tom, they're following a formula. They're like, hey, new games coming out. We have to come up with one new original circuit. Instead of doing that, just re-release all your old ones. I've been saying for years, if they just did like a Forza, a Forza HD track pack of like, hey, here's all of our tracks from Forza 1, 2, 4 that we've remastered for the new game. It's going to cost them like $35, $40, but you double your track count. So then there's a good mix of real-world circuits and original circuits. What's up, Axton? Welcome to the end of the game. And, like, I agree with you. There should be real-life tracks, but if once they really start prioritizing only real-life stuff, eventually you're going to run out of, like iRacing is putting in tracks now that I've never heard of. Which is, like, neat. Like, that's okay, but I think for what makes me want to play one over the other, having a lot of unique tracks to race on that you can't race in any other game, I think is cool. Like, even GT's got that, like Trial Mountain, Deep Forest, Tokyo Expressway, with a lot of, like, original circuits that aren't in any other game. Obviously, there's a big Japanese bias, like Autopolis and whatnot, but I don't know, I stand by that. If you don't agree with that, that's cool. Having different opinions is cool. But I don't understand why they just pretend like their history doesn't exist sometimes. Cars, getting older cars would be a little bit difficult. Because obviously if they want to scan them and do everything properly, I mean, first of all, I hate to say this, because it's not funny anymore, but Forza have no problem taking old models from old games and putting them in new ones with new lighting and going, ta-da! But I get it. They want to do new scans and whatever. A lot of these, like, especially those old tuner cars, either don't exist anymore or you can't find them and whatever, and licensing and who do we license the car from? This, that, and the other thing. Big pain in the ass. I get that. But tracks, it's like, yeah, you'll have to devote money and time into making them, but they're yours. Why not? You know? Going to see a cover band and like, no, we're not playing it. Or going to see a band and like, yeah, we're not playing any of our old stuff. We're only playing our new stuff. It's like, okay, I like your new stuff, but your old stuff was great. That's why I'm a fan. No, we're not playing any of our old stuff, just the new stuff. Okay. Sure. What about like playing the old stuff but in a new way? Nope. Just the new stuff. Okay. I don't know. Welcome to my soapbox. Exclamation mark Forza, by the way. I like the Alps track. Because I'm a drifter, I never liked it. Maybe for racing it was fun. But it showed up in drift lobbies all the time, and it was by far and away like my least favorite drift track in the game. Because it was just 1,000 horsepower, full throttle the whole way around. There was no like nuance to it. There was no like, hey, if you choose, like, even for points drifting, there wasn't like, hey, you got to choose your line carefully because if you like go too shallow, you'll drop the combo, whatever. It's just like, nope. Tap the handbrake and just hold the trigger down, you win. Super boring. And because all the corners are banked too, it's like if you go in too fast, it's not the end of the world. Like honk shoe track. No technicalness to it. Even in like fast cars, it's very like full throttle. And a lot of their tracks are like that. Doesn't exist anymore. That'd be neat, because then you could like take elements from the real track and then add in your own stuff. Why do you care so much, Ringo? You're like, I don't even want to do it for money anyway, but I'm going to talk about it nonstop for 3 weeks. That's like I said that 2 weeks ago. Shocker. Amazon doesn't care if you make $10 on another website. Why'd that be a conflict? Because they're technically two companies owned by Amazon, and it's a subsidy. But they're like in totally different fields. Alright, I was worried we weren't going to get the Corvette back, but I think they're all two-stopping. I saw them blow by me there when I pit, and I was like, uh-oh. I wish I would have drove the Maserati at some point in this playthrough, because it's such a fun, like, it's a good sounding and fun car to drive, but I like this too. This is fine. Dude, Racer, my binders when I was a kid were covered in, like, racetracks that I had just scribbled. Went, okay, and then, like, scribbled again, and, like, I just put my pen on a paper and start letting my wrists go, and then whatever I ended up with, I would just, like, take that as the first version. usually the AI gets scared and back out. Mr. Ramos did not. A lot of racetracks. The roller coasters, they're too fast. They're so fast. Which, like, that's a lot of games do this now. I noticed it in Hot Pursuit 2010. No, Tom, I think that as far as tinfoil hat theories go, that one's got a lot of validity to it. A lot of Forza, especially Forza. And again, I don't want to like shit on anybody's parade because I know people enjoyed the new games and enjoying the new one. It's like they make a game for E3 presenters and IGN reviewers, and then once that initial hype has died after the first month, they're like, oh fuck, well what do we do now? Like Forza Vista was cool in Forza 4 when it was like, hey, here's some significant cars to automotive history. Here's some brand new, oh, goodbye. Here's some brand new cars that just came out. Here's a Warthog. You know, like it was neat. And then they went, okay, we're going to have our car count, or however many it was, to make sure every car has this. You know that one feature that 90% of the player base is going to open, like, twice? It's so fucking... It's such a waste of disk space. Hey, here's Drivatars. They're real-life... They're AI that learn and drive just like your friends. Nope. All you've done is take the AI, take their names off, which... In a game with no story mode and no reason to progress through the career, having little rivalries that you build up with those fake names is it's such a neat way to keep players engaged. You got rid of that so I can race Boner Patrol once every 3 hours and have every car I race with be covered in weed leaves. Fantastic. Really good design choice. And then your community's like, yeah, maybe we should go back to the... No, and then because it's Forza, they're like, nope, this is our ideas, and we're sticking to it. You can't tell us it was a bad idea. You're a bad idea. They're so fucking stubborn. Of course, every car is so unneeded. Imagine what they could do if they didn't need to model the interiors the way they need to model them. Is it very cool? Yes. It's very cool for maybe 20 minutes in my 500 plus hours of playtime. Especially in Horizon, why is that there? Like, why is in a Horizon game, why is that there? It's just disk space for nothing. Like the way they did it in Forza 4 was fantastic. With the Jeremy Clarkson reading it out and going, hey, like even if you wanted to do that in a new game, get like James from Donut to do it or something. I don't know. Pick like 20, 30, 40 cars that are either historically significant, currently relevant. You know what I mean? I haven't seen a post about that. I know he did like the Formula E thing, but I haven't seen anything official about that. He hasn't said anything on his Instagram. I literally follow him on his Instagram to see what happened, because he made a post like, I will say something soon, and then never followed up on it. The new Big Time Today slaps, by the way, if you haven't seen it. I won't spoil it. It's about S13s, but it's not. Yeah, I'm not talking about racing in cockpit view. I mean, there's an actual mode in Forza that is you just walk around the car and you can open the door and, like, sit in it. You can open up the hood and look in the engine bay. And they're all, like, it's all very well detailed and fun to look at. But, like that's cool. That's really nice. But even somebody who loves that, how often are you doing that compared to, like, actually playing the game? Like, why does that matter? Like, once when you first unlock the car? Yeah, you unlock the car, you get in it, or if it's a car that you really like, you get in it, you step in, you're like, wow, that's cool, and then you never touch it again. That's why I liked it in FM4, because it gave you kind of like, it's another unlockable. You're like, oh, hey, I unlocked a car, and it's a Forza Vista car. Sick. And then you go check it out. You have Jeremy Clarkson like, it's a car with wheels. You're like, oh! And then that's it. And then you'll come back when you unlock the next one. And they're like, nope, we're going to make that our main selling point now. That's what our player base likes. Froofy bullshit. What's up, Roar? I don't know. I'm gonna drop it because I again exclamation mark Forza. Turn 10 have had a lot of good ideas, but when their ideas aren't so good, unfortunately, they're horribly stubborn and set in their ways. I don't think I've ever seen them like put out something and then take community feedback and go, yeah, maybe this wasn't a good allocation of our resources. We'll work on it in the next release. They just double down or don't do anything about it. Maybe the career structure in the new game, but even then, they, like, just tweaked it. They didn't, like, totally get rid of it. Because she was hungry. I hate when they do that. No, I haven't. Slushy, I think a lot of it is, like, shitty cars in 2024 are a lot faster than they used to be. But one of my favorite parts of, like, let's say Forza Motorsport 4 is going back and taking my, like, stupid starter car and giving it way too much horsepower and just goofing off with it. Started low but turned around. That's a good question. Chat, how do we feel about that? But I mean, like, a lot of it is, like, me and you, Slushy, we, like, want to drive a 80 horsepower shit bucket. Or, like, base models of cars, you know what I mean? Like a base Toyota Corolla or something. Like, yay, that's fun. After having streamed Forza Horizon in previous years, the amount of people that will come into this chat and go, what is the fastest car and how do I get it immediately? So maybe it is just like a player thing. Starting somebody in a Mustang or an S2000 is just what the kids want, you know? Probably at its best now. Yeah. I think that's not a that's an arguable take, but I don't think it's incorrect. Down the line when it comes to a racing game, I mean, you could talk about Gran Turismo. No, not really. Because even GT1 was like, wow, for its time, and then GT2 was like, wow. I mean, Forza Motorsport, kinda. The first game was like, yeah, that's kind of cool, and then 2, 3, and 4 really built on it. Oh, yeah, I played Unbound the whole way through. I love Unbound, but you're right. The exception, I think, is like limited. There's limited car choice in that game, but that's something that they could do, like give you a Civic or like an EG Civic, like an old piece of shit thing. But there's a lot of tracks now that aren't designed, like Tom kind of touched on it. A lot of track design, and even in open world racers, those are still tracks that you race on, even if it's just checkpoints in an open world, are designed to go 150 miles an hour everywhere. I didn't like Hot Pursuit 2010. It wasn't a bad game, but I didn't like Hot Pursuit 2010 because for the first 40% of the game, you're driving like RX-8s and Scirocco's and whatnot that top out at 160, and you're racing on tracks that are designed to go 200 miles an hour. So for the first, like, 40% of the single player in that game, I'm bored as shit. And then you start getting cars that will crack 200, and you're like, okay, no, I get it now. But I'm already 10 hours in the game. Oh, Tank, even then, like, a lot of your starter cars are still pretty good in Unbound. Compared to, you know, like Gran Turismo, where you starting off in, like, a base model 8.6. Or, like, a Silvia Q's, like an NA 100 horsepower Silvia. Yeah, hard. With a lot of people who really like Hot Pursuit 2010, when I ask them why, online is usually the first or second word out of their mouth. And, like, maybe, but I don't really play Need for Speed for the online. Maybe I should, but I don't. I used to play Pro Street online all the time, and then that was kind of it. Yeah, like, if the back half of the game is great. And the way they do cops, like, that you can play as and play against, very fun. Just the first half of the single player bores me to tears. So boring. I actually liked Unbound for that a lot. A lot of the early game racetracks for the slower cars are very tight and technical and, like, built for it. But even that, like, for the most part, you could put a fast car on a slow track and it will still be fun. When you put a slow car on a fast track, in single player, because I'm thinking of, like, what happens when you put, like, on iRacing, like the Jetta at Watkins Glen. It's a blast because nobody can get away from each other. But for single player, it's like, cool, I'm going to hold the trigger down and wait 5 minutes, and I won. Oh, do you work nights, Ringo? Yeah, okay, I saw the game. Ultra tough mode. Balance. Just balance. There are some games now, like Heat was like this, where instead of balancing the cops throughout the game, they made them very, 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 very hard in the start of the game. And then once you get a car that's, like, worth a shit, they are a non-factor. Like, late game cops in Heat are a joke. And I'm sitting here thinking of, like, there's got to be a better system. And then I go think about Most Wanted that's been out for a million years now that went, maybe as you progress through the game, you unlock tougher police and tougher opponents. Play Heat a lot. Endgame, Ghosty, when you have endgame cars, literally Heat 5 is, like, not an issue. Sometimes you'll get, like, boxed in a corner, but you have a health bar. Tom, I think it was you that put it best. I want police in video games to feel like zombies in Left 4 Dead. I don't want them to be particularly strong. Obviously, there has to be like specials, like your smokers, your hunters, your tanks. If you're talking in Left 4 Dead. But I want like the generic John policeman to be made of fucking paper and just throw like 40 of them at me. Like looking on your radar and Most Wanted, seeing you're getting chased by 15 cops that granted are stupid and doing this, and especially in early game, you have to like slow down to let them catch up to you. But when it's late game and they're throwing shit at you, it gets tough, man. And you need to have a chase that lasts an hour, like. Pretty fucking hard. I never got that, Ghosty. Maybe I played it on an easier difficulty or something, but it seemed like as soon as I got to... there was like a midpoint in the game where you started getting like the high heat races at night where it was a little tough. But towards the end of the game, it was like, okay, this isn't a problem anymore. I'll just boost and go to like one of the... this still pisses me off to this day. Maybe I'm fucking petty. But I remember when Heat came out, I went, yeah, the early game cops are really tough, and it's not balanced well. People gave me shit. They're like, you're a clown. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. This, that, whatever. I'm like, okay. But, like, I'm in a 240 and can't outrun anybody, so all I'm going to do is do one race at night, skip to the day, one race and skip to the day, because I can't outrun them. Oh, you should just jump on the ramps. You know those ramps that when the cops hit them, they just, like, physics break and fly off into space? That doesn't feel right. But even then, that's not a perfect solution. Oh, yeah, you should just go on, like, on top of the roof at the mall. I'm like, oh, that place that they're bugged and can't get up to, that they should be able to get up to? That, like, actual broken part of the map that they just turned into a feature? Yeah, that's a really good idea. Just break the game. It'll be better, forehead. Like, fuck off, fucking idiots. Racing game mod, the chaos is, not a racing game, but there's a couple like GTA mods that are really silly. Like the one in GTA 4 where it just throws pedestrian cars at you is hilarious. I mean, even Unbound does that, PK. It does it a little bit better, but like I said, in my experience, Unbound towards the end of the game, or Heat towards the end of the game was just like, cops? Ha 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 ha. Which, maybe that's what they were trying to do. But I'd like that risk-reward to stay. It felt a lot better in Unbound from my memory, but... Tom, it's like the people that wonder why you don't use, like, the fastest car in your garage for every race. It's called fun. Or, like, people on their 15th playthrough. This is bad for Gran Turismo as well. Of, like, why aren't you using this car? This car's the best for this race. It's like, well, did you do this your first time playing through it? No. Then shut up. I think this is, like, more of a uniquely streamer/content creator problem of chat trying to get you to play the game the way that the 15 other people who play the game every day does. It's like, no, let me experience fucking childlike wonder and leave me alone. I appreciate you not spoiling, Ghosty. I played through the game twice? 3 times? Twice. Use the... Yep. Why don't you like even end game for certain stuff? Like, oh, I could use this car because I know it's the fastest car in the game, but I'll use this one because I think it's going to be more fun. Well, why would you do that? Childlike wonderment? Class systems never worked in NFS games. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. Say Killjoy. If that's how you want to play the game, that's fine. You spent your money. Once you start policing people to play the game the way you want to play it, like if you go into Twitch chats and ask why people aren't using certain cars and doing things a certain way, just fucking play the game yourself. Like, don't be an asshole. I think part of the fun of watching somebody else play through a game that I've completed the whole way through a million times is watching how they do things different. And, like, maybe, hey, why aren't you using this car? Oh, I like this one better. Okay. Or, like, you know, like even like I'm guilty of it, too, when I see somebody playing a game I really love, and I'm like, oh, like, they're using this car and struggling. Maybe I should tell them, you know, like, this would be better. I'm like, hey, do you want advice? And they're like, nope, I like the learning process. I'm like, all right, cool. Sure. One more race to go, lads. Yeah, asking a question is a lot more tolerable. Like, even Takedown, you said that as a bit. At least that gives me an option to, like, explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. What this brand of person does is, like, I want you to play through the game exactly like how I do. Same cameras, same tunes, same cars, same progression through the career. Why not just boot the game up and play it yourself? I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm going to let's play the game, but instead of let's playing it, I'm going to not play it. I'm going to join a Twitch chat and play it through the Twitch chat. Go to therapy. One race left to go. I'm excited. I'm really glad this game still held up. It's definitely not perfect. The AI, when it's good, it's good. When it's not, it's infuriating. The progression is just kind of there, and it's a little weird. I like being able to complete all of one and then move on to the next. This game forces you not to do that. With the leveling system, you kind of go back and forth a little bit. Whether you like that or not, it's up to you. But I remember it having a lot of character and being a lot of fun to play, and it has a lot of character, and it's a lot of fun to play. I really wish I didn't pick two very long games back to back. But I had a lot of fun playing through Forza 2 again. I'm actually really excited to do the thing that I want to do with Forza 4 if I ever end up doing it. Which would not be a full playthrough, but I would pick up from where I left off as a kid. And I told this story a little bit yesterday. I use this car online all the time for certain races, like invitational races Turn 10 would do. And I made the final once. I almost died? FM3? Probably not. 3 and 4 are so close together in my head, Tom. This is such a good car. Get back real quick. We'll be here. Oh my god. Boobies. It's 6 o'clock. To Ghosty. All right, so a Ferrari is going to win this race, but which one? Oh, my God.
Boobies.
That's a new one. Usually it's Understeer City in R1 through there, but...
Boobies.
Again, really unique problem. Maybe some of you guys have this issue, like if you're in a racing game Discord or like a community, is sometimes games will have like little exploits of like, hey, like you could beat this race, or you could beat this race by like cheesing the AI. Like I think in Most Wanted, there is like one bounty that's really hard to get, where you could just sit on top of like a bunch of parked buses. The cops will just freak out and keep destroying each other, and that's how you get it. I don't understand people who get like upset when you choose not to do that, or go, it's the only way to accomplish this goal. It's like, well, no, there's a cool thing called game testing. If it wasn't possible without this glitch, they would not have put the game out. Somebody here is guilty of this, but during my GT3 playthrough, they're like, yeah, you're going to need to do the, like, reverse shifting thing to be able to pass this. I'm like, no, I got it. They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, no, I'll do it. And yeah, it took me an hour, but I did it. They wouldn't release the game if things were legitimately not possible without breaking it. Unless you're F-Zero, then that's different. But even F-Zero was awful for that. Well, Tom, like, either way, like, if I'm playing the game for the 100th time and I'm just trying to get through something, sure. But, like, a lot of what I do is, like, I haven't played this game in years, or maybe people haven't seen this game in years. I want to play through it like how I would if I was 15 and playing it for the first time. The F-Zero people are fucking horrible. A lot of them are really cool and just want to see you play their game, but there's like one in every 10. That's like, yeah, you're going to need to do like the speed run strat and like curb boost and do this, that, whatever if you just want to beat this story mission. Like, no, I don't have to do that. You go, well, it's going to take you forever and you're not going to be able to do it. I'm like, it'll take me forever, but I'll be able to do it. Well, I couldn't do it unless I did that. I'm like, well, that's you. They literally tested this game, went, this is really hard but doable. There's ghosts to show you it's possible. Like, no, what I want to do is take something incredibly difficult that will be incredibly satisfying if I beat it, take all the skill and challenge out of it. Well, to be fair, doing a lot of these speedrun strats is very hard to do, but it's like, I don't want to ruin my good time and spend 3 hours trying to learn this strat that I don't know how to do when I could just play the game normally and beat this in like an hour and a half. And yes, I will get frustrated, and yes, it will get hard, but that's part of the fun. If every game was just like, let's go gambling, I win, it'd be really fucking boring. Even this game, a lot, like, for every, like, 8 races out of 10 are like, oh, I won. That was pretty easy. Or, like, I had to struggle for a little bit there, but ended up getting it with 1 or 2 retries. There's one I get stuck on. I'm like, here we go. You know what I mean? Like Nürburgring last night, that one R1 Sebring race. Like, that's the fun. I'm like, oh, I've run into a challenge. Now I have to, like, use my brain and figure out what I'm doing wrong. And you paid your money, if that's or you acquired the game how you did. If that's not how you want to play through it, that's fine. But why are we policing other people? It's a Bentley. Yep. Get cheap cock at my balls, Morrow. Fuck off, asshole. Suck my left nut and right nut one at a time until completion. Tom beat me to it. That's fair. I hope that person who made their Twitch account and then forgot it existed gets their account back. Oh my god. The weight transfer is nuts. Race the 12-hour? It did. Once. Because I did the Speed 8 yesterday here. What's up, Paula? Thank you for showing up while I was talking about sucking my genitals. Typical. Twitch.tv/Aeroteq for the most eloquent pedestrian conversations. It's so much easier to drive than the other two that I've driven. You can brake so late there, too. Slash now. I'm not gonna try and outsmart Mr. Taylor. I'm just gonna pit when he pits. If I lose time by being on dead tires, I will never catch this guy again. Yeah, I watched Mitch, a video about a failed race car. I don't remember which, where the Speed 8 was in Sebring. That's the only reason I know that. I don't remember the car that they were talking about. I'm coming to get you. Like, I can actually brake later than I think way later than I think I can. This is such a faster car. This is so busted for this class. Well, I've driven the R8 and the Bentley, and I don't think anything else. And both of them, like, understeer pretty bad. The AI is so much better under the brakes because they have ABS. They come out of the corners really good. Especially on worn tires, they don't grip out of the corners very good. This thing's like a go-kart. The turn-in is nuts. The braking is nuts. The acceleration's nuts. It's such a good car compared to everything else I've driven in this class so far. Like, when have I ever beat an AI on the brakes into that corner through this whole playthrough? Never. Without bowling them off the racetrack, I mean. On GT7? Yeah, I think just the shifter. The 125. Yeah, it was around like 2000-ish where they started doing closed tops. I think that one yellow Porsche I'm thinking of was like the 918 Spider, I think, was like the last. It wasn't the last, but it was in the era of the last open top. RS Spider, that's the one. 918's the supercar. I am a fool. Right space in GT7. I have a mod for that Niceto, and I want to drift it, but I think it's too tight. I think it's too narrow of a track. Yeah, there's no kart tracks in GT7 at all. There's like some good, like Tsukuba, but even then, that's a fast track for a go-kart. That isn't like a superkart, you know what I mean? I am mad at motorsport games for a lot of things. Some of them are personal, some of them are not. I will never forgive what they did to Kartcraft. You owe me for that. Kartcraft was a game that I followed all the way when it was called Kart Sim, all the way through its development, early access, and then PS5. From what I see, it's pretty similar. It's like GT Sophie and faster load times. I am in an R1 car. It's the last race of the game, Alex. Karting Superstars coming out soon. Oh, is it an early access? Because I already have it. I bought it during the streamathon. It's a very fun game, but it's not the same. I should have let it go past 12K. One of my worst, like, racing game habits is shifting not at the red line, but at the rev limiter. Some cars, that's better. For a lot of cars, that's worse. So I've been trying to fix that. So this car sounds pretty good. I'll do it on the back straight. Being bad, true. True, I've seen you race. It's a joke. It's a joke. Joking. But I'm gonna let it rev past 12,000 here. Listen to the car. It gets like there's a little rasp. It sounds so good. It's still in early access, okay. I'm telling you, when this game came out, I mean, even now, the engine sounds in this game are even like every sound. The tire sound is like aged, so it doesn't sound as good as it used to. But compared to Gran Turismo, this was one of the best sounding games on the market. Dude, I can't believe we're waning him right now. My favorite part was when he said it's waning time and waned all over those guys. I'm trying to keep an eye on when Wayne pits. It should be pretty soon. So I don't think I'm going to outsmart him on pit strategy. Half of 35 would be like 16, right? If you wanted to one stop. Fronts are getting upset. $17. Okay, math's hard. So coming to lap 18. You guys are little piss babies, huh? Oh, we'll have to watch the streamer make pee. Little freaks. You little freaks. Skelly, that sounds delicious. Does that come with Parmesan or mozzarella? Oh my God, Mitch just copied and pasted a novel. What are you, Tony Forster? I love you, Tony. I love you, Tony. I'm not wrong, though. Yeah, guess where Skelly is right now. Oh. So it will be a two-stop race. I just 50-50'd over that curb. Garrett Southgate, Ethan Bradbury. If you guys want to watch the race that Skelly's at, you could go to twitch.tv/Porsche and watch the in-cars. Smile. No reason. Smile. You could just do that if you'd like. Smile. What lap? Now. I like the idea of trying to stretch it and, like, save a pit stop, Saturn, but also I like the idea of beating this race first try. Also, the race at Sunset scared me. Where I had dead tires for a whole lap, and it cost me a ton of time. Holy moly. Box early, box early, box early, box early. Goodbye, Nigel. Holy, it's Keiichi Tsuchiya in the podium positions. Holy shit, we really gained on that other Ferrari. Where is he? Something must have happened. No, he's back in third. No, about 400 meters. No, that's right. Christensen hasn't pit yet. That noise does things to my pants. If I stood up now, I'd be in a lot of trouble. No, I'd be in a little trouble because, you know.
A very small penis.
I forgot IMSA was at Mosport this weekend. Sad Canadian noises. My friend Pat literally just DM'd me like, hey, are you here? I'm like, at my house? Yes. He goes, oh, no, we're at Mosport for IMSA. I'm like, oh, shit, that was this weekend? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I've got a bunch of work stuff to do. I have to steal the Cornelius and go down and do one of those. I remember when we did, it was, I think, the Brian Stewart Karting Championship. It was like the Eastern Canadian Nationals, basically. Or regional, I guess you'd say. Well, I don't think there is like a national karting circuit in Canada. It's just like nationals for your area. We went to the kart track at CTMP or Mosport, which is beautiful, by the way. For whatever reason you're there and you have a chance to drive it, take it. It's awesome. No, it's just CT3. Tom, I saw IMSA on iRacing at CTMP with LMP2 and Hypercar, and I went, I want no part of this. And I love that track. Yeah, it's like probably almost a minute lap in Hypercar. Like a minute flat. That is a busy racetrack. But I remember when we were running our races, IMSA was the next week, or whatever it was called at the time, ALMS. And you could see, like, we're at our campground is chilling, and you could see, like, Porsche haulers and Ferrari haulers start to pull in. Then the next day, we're doing our practice sessions, getting ready for our final day of racing, and here, and it's just like a fucking 360 GT3 car that flies by us, or 458, I don't remember what was out at the time, or 450. 430, not a 450, I'm an idiot. But holy shit, dude, it was such a cool experience. I wanted to go watch IMSA at Mosport since then. But I forget that it's a thing. No, it's a 430. It was a 360 or 430, I don't remember. When did the 430s come out? Well, there's a 430 in this game, so it was probably a 430. What's up, Barry? Yeah, it would have been a 430 then. I don't think I was doing big racing and karting until about 2007, so. I started in 2002? 2003? And then I did it for 10 years, so that would track. On the race the other night. The truck race? Yeah. I made peace with that. I'm still bummed, but, like, I have a lot to be proud of. I just have to, like, if I want to box with those dudes, I have to take it seriously, and I wasn't taking it seriously. I mean, I was taking the racing seriously, but not the prep, you know what I mean? I didn't bother to ask for a setup, and the setup did help. It didn't help a lot, but it helped. I didn't do a lot of practice. I didn't practice with the pros. Barry, I think I checked the times, and I would have had top 5 pace in the fixed class. I remember I ran like a 14.4 in qualifying, and I was a second off. And I think a 13.9 was pole in fixed. And it's not... I ended up getting a setup before the race. It's not the setup. They just know how to drive this truck. I think it was your finest hour. I won a pre-final on a... I'm going to say national. Because, like, this is the series, like, in Canada, at least Eastern Canada. Everybody from, like, Ontario, Quebec, which are, like, the 2 biggest racing markets in the country, minus, I guess, BC, comes out to it. They came to our home track in Sudbury, and I won a pre-final. It didn't count for anything, and I got punted lap 1, turn 1 of the final, and ended up finishing, like, 5th. There was also, I had the pictures that I have. One's on my wall right behind me. Was it? I'm not like keep in mind, a lot of the drivers from Toronto didn't make the drive up. So it was a smaller field, but there was still like 30 cars in my class. And then there was a race in Shannonville that was like, it was a week-long runoff. So I was racing like 2 or 3 different classes. And that was the biggest grid I've ever been in, and it was genuinely scary. Like, at home, we had about 12, 15 cars. Or carts, whatever. I think the grid was 50 to 60. And, like, I qualified, I think, 30-something. And to see a sea of cars in front of you and look behind, and there's another sea of carts behind you. Fucking terrifying, dude. But I ended up finishing, like, I ended up gaining a lot of spots and making a lot of passes. And at the time, getting used to new tracks was really hard for me because I would just only race at 1 at home. I think I finished in the top 20 or in the teens, maybe. And then I had a technical problem in the second race, unfortunately. I ended up getting, like, lapped and I had to get parked because I was so slow. But there was a guy who, like, went on to finish on the podium in the pre-final that was making his way through the field. And I saw how aggressive he was, just knocking people out of the way. And I let him pass and then just stuck to his bumper and pushed him the whole way through the field. I'm like, I cannot do what this guy's doing, but I sure can pick up the pieces. So this guy would bump them out of the way, and I'd be like, pip, pip, cheerio, and I'd just, like, follow him through. It was really fun. So, yeah, that's probably it. A lot of my good memories, too, like, the year before, again, it was all local stuff, so it wasn't as much competition. Still good drivers at our track, but the year before, I had gotten into a really bad accident, and, like, the whole front of my cart was destroyed, like, had to be welded back together. So I took the rest of the season off because we couldn't afford to fix the damage. I had to watch the last 2 races, and then the chassis was only really ready the week before the first race of the next season. I didn't have as much practice. The track had been open for like a month. So I went in with really low expectations and put it on pole my first time out. My first time driving the cart was qualifying, and I put it on pole. And at the time was the track record. I think it was like a good time at this track was like a 31.5. Like, you were cooking if you were mid-31s, and I think it was a 31.2. And it took, like, all year for people to even get close to that. It ended up getting broken, obviously, but that was a really cool memory, too. That taught me a lot about over-practicing and overthinking. Yeah, no shit. And I don't know, like little things, like learning from mistakes and learning like how other drivers operated, being able to use that. Like I know if I get behind a really aggressive guy and push him up into like a pack, that they'll probably cause an accident or an incident, and I can pass more than one cart that way. Like I learned a lot of my, like for better, I think I'm still too timid of a racing driver, a sim racer, but I learned a lot of my like, what do you call it? A lot of my racecraft through karting. I don't know, Saturn. I think I've said this before. I don't know if this counts either, but going to Robert Wicken's racing school for a couple years was fun. I doubt it, but part of me wonders if he remembers me. I still have, it's somewhere. My mom has it or I have it, like a shirt from his racing school with everybody's signature that was in my class on it. Thank you, Tank. Appreciate it, Tank. But I remember he had like local karters that were all really good. Like they were rich kids, but that doesn't mean they weren't talented. You know what I mean? That if you didn't drive the track their way, they said you were doing it wrong. I remember, because I was there in my own equipment, not the equipment supplied, and I was being very timid on the curbing, and I didn't want to smash shit up because I knew, like, if I break a tie rod, we don't have spare tie rods. We don't have spare parts. And a tie rod on a go-kart is very easy to break. He was in DTM at the time, I think. This was way before his IndyCar thing, and so I was being very timid with track limits while all the other kids were like throwing the carts off of curbs because either they could afford to break the parts or they were using the rentals that were supplied to them. So one of the coaches was like, "You're not using the curbs." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And they're like, "Well, you're gonna go slower." I'm like, "That's fine." Like, what? They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to put it on the curbs. The cart doesn't feel comfortable on the curbs. I feel like it gets really sideways and like it doesn't feel right on the curbs there." And they're like, "Well, you're doing it wrong." And I don't know if you've ever told like a 16-year-old, "Do it my way because your way is wrong," but that's basically like a guarantee they're not going to listen to you. Like, I don't know if you've ever told a kid, "Do it this way because I said so." They will never do it that way again. So that's what I did. They're like, "Yeah, you got to do it this way." I'm like, "Yeah, so I'm going to not do that." And I remember Robert pulling me aside, or talking to me individually, not pulling me aside, in front of all these other coaches, was like, "Yeah, I understand why people don't want to run the curbs here, but it does save you a lot of time and sets you up better for this corner." Like, he explained to me why it was better. Not do it my way because it's better. He made it made sense in my head. And then I told him, like, "Hey, like, if I break a tie rod, I'm not racing this week." And you know, I don't feel comfortable running the curbs. Like, I feel like the wheel is going to come out of my hands. And he goes, "Yeah, you can do that too." No argument, no nothing. He explained why it was better, and I gave my reasons why I wasn't doing it. And he was like, "Okay." You weren't there to learn the line of a track you're never going to race at. You were there to learn racecraft and how to apex corners properly and the specific track knowledge. I don't remember the Hamilton fucking go-kart track. What's up, Haley? Cart also broken. I think this was pre-flip, Tank. This was before I bent the chassis and we didn't know for a whole year. Dude, that guy's lived so much life since then. I'd love the opportunity to try and bring it up to him, Saturn, but that guy has lived so much life since then. And trying to rant? Not really. Saturn asked me like what my best memories from karting were, so I was just kind of going off. Is the guy again? Robert Wickens? How'd I manage that? I have a picture, Racer. If you want to give me 2 seconds to try and find it. Because it's a really fun story. And, I mean, this is the only thing we have left in the game, so... Yeah, give me a second. It's in the other room, I think. If I can't find it in 10 seconds, I'll just explain it. They're not where I usually leave. Oops. They're not where I usually leave them. It's like a plaque. I have one up on my wall, and then the other 2 that I haven't put up yet. And I'm just lazy. Excuse me. I think I know where they are, but they're in like a bin buried under a bunch of shit. So I'm just gonna use my flashlight, see if I see them, and if I don't, I'll come back. Found it. It was in a bin. It was in a bin. I didn't want to get dust on it. They kept getting dusty. So, this was in... I didn't grab the cool one of me racing in Shannonville. I grabbed the one with me crashing. This was in... When was it? It was in 2008 in Sturgeon Falls, Ontario. It was a kart track. It was a thing they used to do in the 90s. And then they brought it back in the mid-2000s. Basically, in the community center, they just set up hay bales and tires and made a racetrack. It was a fun little track. However, the corner workers were just locals, and they didn't really know shit about fuck. Because Sturgeon Falls is in the middle of goddamn nowhere, basically. Like, very small town. Very French for whatever reason. Like a weird little French enclave. If you're watching the Forza 2 playthrough, I'm prolonging you. I'm edging you right now with aero lore. But I was off pace for this particular weekend. I don't know why, by like 3 or 4 tenths, and it was really frustrating. And we went out for qualifying, and I went, okay, I just need to make sure I clip all these apexes as good as possible. And a lot of you guys know what muscle memory is, so let's say you're turning into a corner, you know it's going to be about this much wheel input, right? It's just hardwired. And if you know what you're doing, you're looking ahead. So the session before me, there was a big crash, and one of the inside corners was all tires tied together in like chains as one big strip. And usually it was nice and smooth, so at the apex, you can almost hit the tires with your side pod of your go-kart and keep going. One of these tires was sticking out by maybe like 4 inches or so. It hit my right rear tire, and then this happened. Yes! You guys need to, you can see this. I don't need to see you. I fucking died. This helmet was brand new. I don't know where it is. It's destroyed. You could never use it again. And the guy taking the... This was on the wall of my engine builder's shop for years. The photographer who took this was like his magnum opus for a while. and had this in his portfolio. He gave this to me for free. I think, if I recall, what's his name? I think his name was Cody. But, your legs are dangling. My favorite one, and you wouldn't notice this unless you look at it up close. If you look at the shots on this side, I disappear for like 2. Like, you look under, there's no feet, there's no shoes. I also thought there was carts coming, so I got up as fast as I could. Try not to get fucking run over. You can even see on the suit, I have like a tire mark in my back. Like, I don't know if you could see it, because I can't see the OBS window. You see that, like, stain? That's a tire. And if you had shoes with shoelaces, you had to have them taped. That's why there's those red, and it looked cool with the cart. But yeah, because it landed like this, the chassis bent like that, and we were poor and didn't have access to, like, a frame thingy. So we didn't know the chassis was bent, and I was a second off the pace all year, and my parents just thought I was scared. Which, to be fair, a little bit. But I was so slow, I thought I was gaslighting myself all year into being like, what color was that suit before? Because it was brown after. I had a broken wrist. That was basically it. I ended up racing with it too. So the first time I flipped, I tried to pass a guy who he'd come out, like, the outside of the corner was super bumpy. So you would basically, the last corner going on to the main straight, you'd late apex and stay to the left. But he had this habit of coming out middle and then cutting left really hard. So he had a really bad exit. I stuck the nose up, and he went out and then cut left and didn't see me, and I went, poof. That time, I was like, oh, I flipped. I should go to the hospital. I'm probably in pain. So when the medics came over to me, and were like, oh, are you okay? I was crying, so I was fucking 12. I had a sprained wrist. They put me on a gurney. I had to go to the hospital. It took hours. I was short, and whoever put me on the gurney was fucking dumb. And like my head was like half hanging off. So the plastic was like bent, like digging into the back of my head. I remember this story as I'm flipping now, and I'm like, whatever happens, I don't care how hurt I am. I'm not going to the hospital. So they're like, are you okay? And like, I could feel my wrist is fucking shattered. I'm like, yep, I'm fine. Go back to the pits. We fixed, like, the minor visual damage that we could find, and I went out and raced the next session with one hand. I had to come in halfway through. I'm like, yeah, my wrist hurts too much. But because I went swimming at the hotel with my friends that night, my parents thought I was okay. We get to the trailer the next day, and I'm using only my left hand. I'm unlocking the trailer and starting to pull stuff out to get set up. And my stepdad, bless his heart, comes over and goes, if you're so hurt, go to the hospital. And I looked and went, all right. And me and my mom got in the car, went to the hospital. It was in the morning. There was nobody there. And I came back with a big red cast on. He's like, oh, shit. I think, I don't know how long my wrist was broken, but when I got back in the car as soon as I got my wrist off, my cast off. The chassis was bent. We rebent it the next year. And then that's when I bought an Aero, ARROW. That's where I got my name from. And I have another plaque like this where I'm doing cool shit, but this is definitely the best one. I'd be remiss. Trouble. What's up, Nate? I love this story. I love like I peaked in high school, man. I love all my karting stories. I wish people thought it was cooler at the time. People just made fun of me and said it's not a real sport. And I was like, who cares? They're like, you care. Like, you're right, but fuck off. But yeah, that's how I flipped my cart, bent the chassis, and then we didn't know about it for a year. Wrist injury. It doesn't hurt, like, in my 30s. Barry, I remember vividly. Because it was like, I don't remember how long I was out with the wrist injury. It wasn't super long, though. It was like 2 months. Tom. So I got the cast off, and like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever broken a bone or like had any sort of like cast on. For the first like week or two, you're like, it's still really weak. Like, you have to get used to using it again. I was in the cart right away. Like, this was the, like, as a kid, it was like, this is my thing. This is my only thing. You know, I'm not good at anything else. I'm not cool. You know, I don't really have a lot of friends. This is what makes me happy. Because when you're racing and driving really fast, you cannot think of anything else, or you'll just die. So it's like peace. You know what I mean? Very, very cringe, but like live my life quarter mile at a time type shit. What's up, Poncho? But for the rest of the year, again, I told you, like, a fast lap is a 31.5. A good lap's like a 32 flat. And if you're in the 33s, you're, like, garbage. I was running 33.1s, trying my heart out. Like, every race, I'd drop to the back, get lapped. Maybe race one old guy who only drives every 6 months. It was so demoralizing, and I was like, well, I guess that crash really fucked with my head. You know how you see, like, some drivers in real life, they get in a really big crash, and then they're just never the same again? I was like, well, there it is. You can't do this anymore. Chalky milk last night. Oops. Like, I'm at home. Like, after races, I'd go home, and, like, my parents would be like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go take a nap. And I just go in my bed and cry. Like, this is the one thing that I want to be good at in life. The one thing. And talking to girls, basically. I was like 12, though. That wasn't there yet. And, like, if I'm not good at this, like, what am I good at? Nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm young. You just think it's the end of the world. And I remember we went to take the cart to get weighed to see, like, where all the weight was and if the weight was evenly distributed, because somebody had finally got scales. And we figured out how bad the bend was and how warped the chassis was. So I don't remember if we fixed it or if it was like, yeah, it's fucked. You can't fix this. And then, like I said, the second I got in a new chassis, I put the cart on pole, and it was like a totally different thing. I cried again, but for like a different reason. Like, it was like I was getting gaslit unknowingly for a year. And then all of a sudden, everything's good again. Did you win from pole? I think I ended up getting like third. I didn't win. I won like pre-finals in that class, but that class was 15 and up, so we were racing with like dudes that have been racing there for years. And like really, really good kids with like really rich parents, and me and my parents, like, obviously you can't be poor and be go-karting because that's thousands of dollars a summer. But we didn't have a lot of extra money to, like, build our engines or, like, test new parts. Like, we'd get stuff that worked and go, cool, that's it. And, like, even going to practice twice a week was tires and gas and... Yeah, I got a lot of pole positions that year. The track record for almost a year. I had a chance at the championship at the end of the season, and then there was drama, like there in any kid's sport. The parents are just like, fuck you, no, fuck you. And then the kids are like, what? There was a thing, it was like an FIA thing, which is funny, where one of my friends, Patrick, had flipped really early in the race. And instead of, like, restarting the race, they had, what'd they do? They had just called it because we were getting close to curfew. Like the public track had to be open by noon because it was a rental kart track that just was closed in the mornings for us to race at on the Sunday. So it fucked another kid out of a chance at a championship because he would have won if the race had kept going, but because it didn't, the guy who made the call, his kid won. So instead of it just going, oh, it is what it is, everybody's parents just started fucking arguing, thinking it was fixed. You know, like, it wasn't. And the guy made a call. I don't think it was the right call, but he made a decision. And it was like, nope, you're just doing this because you don't like my kid and you don't like me. Go fuck yourself. And they're like, no, that's not it at all. Actually, you go fuck yourself. So I got pulled for the rest of the season because my parents took a side. Which, to be fair, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, especially in hindsight. But I wanted to race the last 3 races, and my parents were like, nope, in solidarity, we're not going. I was like, well, what the fuck? Like, I'm 3rd in points. I have a chance at this. And they're like, nope, you're not going to do it. I'm like, okay. And I went to go race by myself, but I was like 17 and didn't know how to do anything. So I went to watch. And then that was the last time I raced. I think I may have done 1 or 2 races when I was 18 and running the thing by myself, but I don't think I would have ever went anywhere, but it would have been nice to... I used to win a lot in novice when I was like 10. And even in junior, I think I won like 1 or 2 races, but I never won in senior. I never won in the 15 and up class. And it would have been nice to just get 1 more. So I definitely could have. Karting was fun, man. I miss it all the time. I wish I had a lot of, like, disposable income. I would go do, like, a ride and drive somewhere. Just get a GoPro, you know what I mean? Not buying new tires. So there was a spec tire, and the compound was developed to be really hard, so it would last a whole season. But a lot of the, like... The engine at this point, I think, were Briggs & Strattons, so they were spec. But a lot of the kids that, like, had bigger budgets would use 4 sets of tires a season. We would use maybe 2. Our rain tires were, like, we found them. And they were terrible. They were, like, shitty old Bridgestones that were as hard as a rock. Everyone else had brand new rain tires. So anytime it rained, I was just fucking useless. Like, I remember I used to go practice in the rain because I was so bad in the rain. And still couldn't figure it out. Like, and karting in the rain sucks because you get water in your intake, that's it. You're done for the day at least. So you'd have to, remember we used to go in the garbage, cut Gatorade bottles at the neck, and then zip tie them over the air filter. To try and keep water out. But then you hit 1 puddle, and it's like, that didn't work. And they were carbureted, so, like, you get anything in the carb, it doesn't run right. And I remember one year, I got pinched off track and ended up hitting, like, a dirt mound that was basically just a ramp. And the landing was so harsh, it hit the kill switch on the engine. And I thought I'd blew the engine up. So I pit... DNFing the race. Was like, damn, that sucks. Why is karting so expensive? Racing. Motorsport is the most expensive sport in the world at any level. Even arrive and drives. I used to, when I was in high school, you're forced to do volunteer work as part of your. You need like 20 or 30 hours of like volunteer work to graduate. So I went and taught arrive and drive at on Wednesdays at this racetrack, where they'd have a cart for you and a suit for you, and you literally just show up and drive. I think I told this a bit of the story yesterday, where like 40-year-old dudes were not stoked to take advice from a 14-year-old kid. And then I would race with them. I remember I had the arrive and drive track record for years. And instead of being like, wow, this kid's pretty fast, they went, yeah, you're just 100 pounds lighter than us. That's why you're faster. Or 50 pounds or whatever. They wouldn't listen to anything I was saying. It was very funny. Hi, Cisco. How are you? Nobody's allowed to talk about Cisco's job from this point onwards. Give him a break. But even the arrive and drive was like $100 a night. Between race fees and everything else, like it was like $80 to $100 a race. You get to drive all night, but it was still like $100 a 16-year-old kid didn't have. So even now, like, there's arrive and drive tracks near where I live, but it would still cost like probably 100, 150 now if I had to guess per race. 10 races a season. It'd be fun, but like staying alive is cooler. I've actually started watching a lot of Gears and Gasoline. I'd love to do like GT Grid Life. That'd be so fun. I would not know how to race with a stick shift, but I could learn. High-level karting. I'd love to go to the UK and do one of those 24-hour races that Steve and Jimmy do. I'd actually love to do that. This is the last race of the game, Cisco. Jimmy said like we should do it, but obviously he's in the UK and I'm not. He's like, you'd have to get yourself out here. I'm like, dude, that's like a $1,000 flight. He's like, yeah, I know, but if you ever wanted to. He's a little busy now, but I think that offer may or may not have expired. If the timing was right and I could either afford it or an anonymous benefactor allowed it, I would love to go to, like, not Linden Hill. What's the name of that track they did it at? It's in fucking Kartcraft. No, it's not. It's in the R Factor 2 one. On that. Cool! Thanks for the update. Now I'm nervous. Thank you. It's a good thing I have the shirt. What car am I picking for GTLC? That's a good question. I just, like I said, I just started watching Gears and Gas. I didn't know Grid Life did door-to-door racing. That was news to me. What wheel do I have? Exclamation mark wheel, but it's a THRUSTMASTER TX Leather Edition with T3PA pedals. The wheel I have beaten the tar out of, and I've gotten nothing but good results out of it. I would like to go up to direct drive, but for what it is, it's great. It's next weekend, Cisco. Next weekend. They put up all the live stream stuff, and I went, huh? No, it's next weekend. Yeah, I thought the same thing, because I have a bunch of shit to do this weekend. I was like, did I forget to put FD on the schedule again? No. 5 laps to go in Forza Motorsport 2. I conquered my demon of Sebring R1. I'm still thinking, I love Jackie Ding's 8.6, but he's slow in it. And again, I don't know how good I would be at heel towing and like driving a stick shift. But Gears and Gasoline's hatch, and then there's another guy with a EG 4-door that looks like it's at a BTCC, are both sick. I beat F-Zero GX, and starting tomorrow, we're going to beat F-Zero X. Set your couch on fire. Yeah, I didn't know that Grid Life did door-to-door racing. I've always wanted to go to Grid Life, but that has, like, exponentially increased my interest in wanting to go to Grid Life. Penis. Dude, he's hanging out with Jose Carlos. Welcome to Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. K-Swap does 2000s. There's, I forget her name, but I, like, they never said anything in the Gears and Gasoline video, but it's in the colors. It's an ASM S2000. Yeah. I'm supporting that. Just do it, dude. You'll have fun. Can't even remember her name. I literally watched a video where Ben wrecked his car last night. I just forget her name. Usually if somebody's like running a livery or something with the trans colors, it's not a coincidence. An S2000 would be sick too. I love S2000s, always have. I'm like a closet Honda guy. Doing it in an S chassis would be cool too. I've always wanted a Sylvia. Making it a time attack or a race car would be like the opposite of what I wanted to do, but ooh, GC8 Subaru would also be sick. Like the Gen 1s. Make it look like fucking like tarmac spec WRC. Tom's always been an alpha man. I won't. I can't believe Tom just said, "Shut up, baby, I know it." As much as I think my life goal is to drive a drift car of any sort, whether it's a street car, race car, or whatever, a street car, comp car, whatever, I'd love to get it, do a little bit of racing at some point. Whether it's like real cars, asphalt karting, I'd love to get back into it. I miss the smell of gas and rubber in the morning. All right, we're running a 42. It's going to happen right now. It's going to happen next lap. still happen this lap. Hold on. Oh, actually, like an older 911, like a 2000s 911. Yeah, but it weighed as much as a moon. Oh. Original Cayman. That'd be a good shout, too. Beardo, thank you for the tier 3 for 6 months. Jesus Christ. I appreciate you, dude. I hope you have a good start to your weekend. Welcome to the last 2 laps of Forza Motorsport 2. GLTC, the Grid Life touring cars. It's a Grid Life, but wheel-to-wheel racing. It's like Forza IRL. It's sick. It looks like C or B class Forza racing. Oh my god, it's so close. No! Oh my god! Come on! It's gotta be this one. Last lap of the game. Tires might be cooked. Yep. That was just too early. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Forza Motorsport 2. Mr. Tsuchiya is... Oh my god. It's like 3 of them all at once. Tsuchiya got lapped in the pits.
Love the Mets. All right, baby, let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go Mets.
Ad break. I should have never once given you guys that emote. Jesus Christ. That's the two longest games I think I've ever played back to back. They're gamers, Mitch. They're used to building it all up and letting it come out all at once. That's a joke about gooning. Got the Talbot Sport 905 Evo 1C. And then 140,000 credits for winning on top of the 400-something that we just got. 950,000 credits. Just give me the million for completing all the endurance races. There's the Pug. And do we get anything else for 100% of the game? There it is. 100% done. Forza Motorsport 2. Is there a credits? Is there a credits to the I beat the game and there's no credits. Is there a credit options? Yeah. This is going to make me feel 100 years. Seeing Dan Greenwald's name gives me fight or flight. Alan Hartman's name gives me fight or flight. Oh, this is cute, actually. That looks like Alexi in the bottom right corner. But this game is what sparked... If this game didn't exist, there would be no Forza as you know it today. The first game was good. But there was no aerial in the game. Hello. Oh, they must have taken these shots like on the promo tour. It was probably after all the scanning and whatnot. This looks like they're getting ready for Forza 3. But like that kind of looks like Hockenheim. But what was I saying? This game didn't exist. I don't think Forza as you know it would exist. The first game was good, but this was really like especially because it was bundled with the 360 for a long time. It like boom, like it showed everybody Forza and what it did different. Sure, what it did different. Why it wasn't Gran Turismo and why you should take Xbox 360 as a Simcade or whatever platform a little bit more seriously. Obviously, this is a game that started it all for me too. If this game didn't exist, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now. Playing Forza 2 is what got me into doing a lot of online stuff. Got me into YouTubing and what really helped it take off for me from that perspective especially. But as a game, I'm excited to say that I still think it holds up. Should you go back and play it right now? I don't know. I feel like I really liked this game a lot. And again, there obviously is a lot of nostalgia because of what this... Oh, my God. That's something. There's a lot going on. Halloween. Is that Dan Greenwald in the dress? Hold on. But I learned a lot coming back to play this. It's still a really fun game. It does stuff that some Forzas don't do. R4 class is really fun. Having the tire be able to be different compounds, which we're going to explore a little bit in the epilogue here. Oh, there's Che. I know Che. Rest in peace. He's not dead. He's just not at Forza anymore. But it's still a very fun game. I don't know if you should go back and play this over Forza 4. I think Forza 4 was like, this proved what Forza 1 could have been, and then Forza 4 was the best version of what this game is. There's still stuff in this game that makes it unique, certain tracks, cars, whatnot. But it's still fun to play. The AI on hard mode is a little annoying. Sometimes they race really good and they're really fun to race, and we had really good back and forths and battles. And sometimes they're just terrible. It really kind of just depends. Early game AI are awful. They're so slow. But yeah, I mean, I had fun, and if you didn't have a PlayStation, this was still a Gran Turismo-esque experience. But let's be honest, the best part about this game, out of its time, was the fact that it had such a thriving and vibrant online community. Obviously, that's where I got started in 2009. I think it was the year that the flip happened, actually. It did. Oh, no, it was the year before, because this was in 2008 and that was in 2009. That's where I got started in the drift community, and that's where I got interested in making drift videos and YouTube videos and whatnot. So, but being able to jump on the forums and like chat about the game and chat about like competitions and going online and jumping, either drifting with people or going, hey, I want to race B class, but you want to use any of the OP cars, and everyone could just do that, or joining a league or whatever. It was such a, like I said, such a unique time in Forza's history, where there was enough people playing the game that the community felt very alive, but it wasn't oversaturated with people with bad intentions. Obviously, they did their best to be like, hey, go to the forums. Hey, go to the forums. But like, only people who really cared about the franchise and the game made the effort to join the forums and start getting involved, whether that was in photo competitions, hot lapping, toge, which was just sections of the Nürburgring, because that's all we had, drag racing, drifting. The game had its own little ecosystem that was not made by the developers. It was by the players. It reminds me a lot of like modern day iRacing, to a point where the game is there, and obviously there's officials and stuff you can do, but a lot of the best stuff in the game are... Oh, Junkie XL did the Forza song. That's cool. But a lot of the best stuff and best experiences you can have in the game are all about community. I guess that's why I'm so attracted to like modern day sim racing. It's so easy just to jump in and start making friends, and what's the term I'm looking for here? It's just jump in and start making friends and feel like a sense of community, whether that's like in a league or just online, like talking. I don't know. I really, 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 really loved this time. I owe this game a lot, if not everything. I owe this franchise a lot, if not everything. And it was a little long in the tooth. And I don't really vibe with the progression. I would rather, if it's just a me problem, I'd rather just do like beginner, intermediate, expert, like all in one order. And I would like having to go back and forth. It feels weird. And the like, hey, you can unlock, you choose a region even though it doesn't really do anything. That's just kind of weird. But I still enjoyed this game. If you have a copy of it, I think it's still worth like popping in and screwing around. Give yourself a challenge. Play it on hard mode with no assists, and especially in the lower classes, like really show up to races and see how crap of a car you can use and get away with it, because that's a lot of fun. And yeah, there's a reason I'm continuously speaking, because I don't want to get copyrighted by Gnarls Barkley. But yeah, I was really, 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 really scared that I was going to look back on this game and play it and go, wow, this game was nothing without the online, but it was still fun. But like I said, I think the biggest draw of this game, and what made it so much cooler than a lot of other games at its time, was how easy it was to get involved in the community and how good the community was at the time. So if you were there at the time, you remember. But these are so cool. I've never seen the credits of this game before. It's just a bunch of dorks doing dorky shit. This is... Please be done. I'm scared. Gold Frap is the song I got. Slide-in's the song I got in trouble for, where it muted on Twitch and then I could never get the VOD to export. Robo Slut, that's me. Beep boop bop boop bop beep beep. But so I forgot Sonido Total. So it's the soundtrack too. I hated the soundtrack as a kid, but the more I listen to it, and especially now with the nostalgia, it's cycling to the same pictures now. Especially now with the nostalgia, it definitely aged really well and given the game a lot of character. This is something that a lot of the modern games don't have too, is a lot of character. Whether you like it or not, it's up to you, but there's a lot of personality in a game where it's literally just, hey, do these races. All right, you've done these races, do the next races. But we did another dude. We're still on the copyright portion of the credits. What do you mean? Could very well end right at boob o'clock. Oh, my throat hurts. Penis. The car list too is fantastic. For its time, genuinely shocking how good this car list is. I do not remember it being this good. Always thought Forza 4 was going to be like the banger one. No, this one is still like very, very solid. There's a lot going on. A lot of different stuff too. Forza was always really good at a lot of American cars too. Like the other games just did not have a lot of the American stuff that this game did. But a lot of the old tuner cars are super cool to have as well. Cars that you've seen in this game, we're going to go over here in what I'm referring to as the epilogue of the game. But like a lot of like D1 cars, that was one of the first drift cars I've ever seen in a video game. Was a top secret S15, along with the like Blitz Skyline and the HKS S15 in Gran Turismo. That was dope. And I don't know, like there's like the Cupra GT, the Ferrari that we just used, a lot of the Porsches. Again, having Porsche outside of an EA game was just unheard of at the time. The Paynode's prototypes in this game too, that's amazing. All the R4 cars, I think the most underrated class of the game. They're so grippy and so fun. If you've never driven R4 in this game, and again, you have this game lying around, give it a try. It's a blast. Something I used to do online all the time. There's a lot more variance to the what do you call it? To the car list than I remember. And yeah. The only thing in terms of content is the tracks are a little light. I'd like to see those test tracks make more of a presence outside of the proving grounds, because it's like once you got past proving grounds, you do King Cobra like twice and then you never see them again. Hi Ryan, we just beat the game. We're gonna do some skids now. You're just in time for boob o'clock as well. But the track list is a little light, but for what it like at the time the game came out, it makes sense. Oh, this is cool. Hey, these are all the cars from IMSA. Thank you for everyone coming from the raid, by the way. My name is Aero. We just finished Forza Motorsport 2 for the Xbox 360. We are going to explore the car list a little bit and do the thing that I used to do all the time when I was a kid and just make some drift cars. So if you want to stick around and do some nostalgia-ing with us, I'd appreciate it. As soon as the credits are over, good lord. But if not, thanks for hanging out with Ryan. What were you up to, Ryan? Were you playing, well, you weren't playing, not Pro Street. What were you doing? Shift for the PSP. But, the athlete's foot and new wing foot design. Oh, my God. Oh, MXGP? Okay. Bubba. Oh, yeah, this is, yeah, we're still doing licenses. This is go. Oh, yeah. Look at me go. I'm cheating. We've seen these pictures loop like 3 times. Missed you play it. It's a good thing that I have youtube.com/Aeroteq. That's right, youtube.com/Aeroteq, where you can watch any of the VODs from any of my Let's Plays, all in a playlist, nice and cute. Just like you. Smiley face. Speedy. I'm speeding. We're speeding because I don't want to get copyrighted. We're flying. And more automotive community special thanks. Is there any names I recognize in here? This was way before my time. Herbert Singleton 3. And even more automotive community thanks. All right, these are all like dealers and people that they borrowed the cars from. Lisa Jackson of Celine. Yeah. Forza Team special thanks. And I'm trying to see if I remember. Alan Hartman is the name I remember. Trying to see if I remember any of these names. Che Chu, again, was basically the ForzaMotorsport.net guy for years. Until Mechbird took over. I think this was before all their times, though. Bump, bump. I love this bass line. Keith, Kenneth, Kim, Corey, Lauren, Mark, Mike, Pat. No, I don't remember. A lot of the names here. Here they go! Holy shit.
Boobies.
The number of speeding tickets received during the making of Forza 2, 41. The number of licenses revoked, 2. The fact that there was more than 1 is concerning.
Boobies. Boobies. Boobies.